Good, happy Wednesday morning, February 10, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Wednesday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news and weather to talk about. First up, let's begin with your weather. First up, let's take a look at your radar and see what's happening on radar right now. And here's a live look at that radar right now. As you can see on radar, the snow moved out of New Hampshire. Now it's just clear, and it'll be a clear day today in New Hampshire. Your weather right now is clear, 11 degrees. And now let's take a look at your hourly forecast. And here's a look at that next hourly forecast for all of you. And your weather for today, generally sunny despite a few afternoon clouds, high 29 degrees, winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies during the evening will give way to cloudy skies overnight, low 11 degrees, winds light and variable. And now let's take a look at your next 10-day forecast. And here's a look at that next 10-day forecast. And now let's take a look at your traffic right now. Let's see how the roadways are looking like this morning. And here's a live look at your traffic map this morning. As you can see, in Henniker, you're seeing some smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. Hopkinton, medium-paced traffic with some smooth sailing. Bow, Pembroke, and Concord, some smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. Boscawen, medium-paced traffic with some smooth sailing. Over in Chichester, you're seeing some smooth sailing. Epsom, smooth sailing. Northwood, smooth sailing. And Lee, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. And then you get over along the seacoast area. Durham, some smooth sailing with a little spot of medium-paced traffic here. Rochester, medium-paced traffic. Somersworth, medium-paced traffic, and Dover, medium-paced traffic, and making your way into Portsmouth, medium-paced traffic. Portsmouth into Maine, smooth sailing. Portsmouth and Rye, smooth sailing. Northampton, smooth sailing. Hampton, smooth sailing. Seabrook, smooth sailing into the border of Massachusetts. On 101, some medium-paced traffic and smooth sailing on 101. In the Manchester and Hooksett area, you're seeing some medium-paced traffic and smooth sailing. Around the Manchester Airport area, some medium-paced traffic. Bedford, smooth sailing. Amherst, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic, and Milford, smooth sailing with a little spot of medium-paced traffic. Manchester, Merrimack, Nashua into the border of Massachusetts, smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. Nashua, Milford, smooth sailing with some medium and slow-paced traffic. Manchester, Derry, Londonderry, Windham, Salem into the border of Massachusetts, all smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic. And that is a look at your morning traffic map this morning. And now let's get to your news. First up, let's take a look at your COVID-19 numbers for New Hampshire. There are 68,918 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. There are 1,109 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. There are 159 current number of hospitalizations for COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And that is a look at your COVID-19 updates for this morning for New Hampshire. Now let's get to some other news. Governor says vaccine scheduling problems largely resolved. State still reaching out to some. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
Over time, the flue tiles inside your chimney may become damaged from water, age, or even a chimney fire, which could lead to dangerous toxins.
Hours of operation are expanding at 11 fixed vaccination sites in New Hampshire, and 7 of those locations are running now 7 days a week. The massive effort to get ahead of the COVID-19 pandemic gearing up as more doses arrive and public health officials tackle some lingering issues. The state announcing Tuesday it has essentially worked its way through the rescheduling of second dose appointments within the appropriate time frame.
If you were having trouble scheduling your second shot, you can now go into VAMS. Please go into the system. You should have no trouble getting that second vaccine shot re-registered.
News 9 did hear from some viewers who say they are still trying to reschedule, and the state confirms today that there are some people who had issues with the second appointment cards they received in the last 2 days. The governor saying those granted staters were unclear how to read those cards or received incomplete information. That's being dealt with now. As far as people with qualifying medical conditions in Phase 1B, there's also a remaining group of people in that category who are still waiting for phone calls to schedule a first shot appointment. The governor says that call will come.
Maybe we didn't have their email in the system correctly, or maybe there was some incomplete information. There were a few thousand of those individuals. And again, I asked the team to reach out on a one-to-one basis, call them personally, fix their information, make sure it gets complete into the system.
And public health officials said today that they did receive 21,475 new first doses of COVID-19 vaccine this week. That number is expected to incrementally increase each week in the weeks ahead. Reporting live in Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. COVID-19 vaccine soon to be administered at Walgreens. State to sign up people. State officials will schedule vaccination appointments, not Walgreens. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When it's time to invest in a new roof, be smart and look at more factors than just the final price. Not all roofs are the same.
Walgreens is now starting to book appointments to administer the COVID-19 vaccine in select states across the country.
We're just very excited to transition from Phase 1A to this next population and offer the vaccination to the communities we serve every single day.
The pharmacy chain says it will start inoculations here in New Hampshire next week as part of a federal program.
Walgreens, over and above what the state already receives for vaccine, will, starting next week, receive about 3,400 additional vaccines. And they're partnering with us to make sure that we can compress the time that folks in Phase 1B have to wait for their first shot.
Anyone signing up for an appointment with the pharmacy must meet current state guidelines for eligibility. The state says it will schedule vaccines for people, not Walgreens. Those who are booked out to April or May will get a call to move up their appointment.
Walgreens is now going to partner with us whereas we are going to start at kind of at the back of the list, those that are furthest out, and start directly one-on-one calling them and rescheduling them to go get their vaccine at a much earlier date.
Officials say the state will be completely in charge of Walgreens appointments for now.
For the time being, I think we're going to keep with this system. I think it creates an opportunity to really reduce Group 1B. Maybe as we get to other groups, 2A and 2B, and as more vaccine becomes available, obviously it would be, I think long term, we all want it to be more of an autonomous system where it's just a systematic thing.
Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. UNH president says pandemic has been costly, addresses sustainability strategy. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When it's time to invest in a new roof, be smart and look at more factors than just the final price. Not all roofs are the...
We hoped that our plan would pay off and that we'd be able to provide a residential experience with mostly in-person courses for 12 weeks from September to November.
The plan did pay off, but UNH President James Dean says from testing to lost student revenue, the pandemic has been costly.
An analysis done last summer estimated we would need to save approximately $40 million by fiscal year 2023 in order to achieve financial sustainability. And it looks as if we're roughly on track to do this.
Costs already reduced in areas like IT and the library, athletics next, and from nearly 300 faculty and staff taking offered early retirement.
We're going to attempt to reassess and reorganize the work so that we can perform the university's vital functions with fewer people.
But still moving forward with strategic priorities like diversity, equity, and inclusion.
We are making changes to our bias reporting system in direct response to the stated needs of UNH community members to do better.
Adding a new bias response and support coordinator, too. And the COVID testing lab developed on campus continues its outreach testing for the state, even purchasing a genome sequencer.
Public health experts are calling for widespread genomic surveillance, and UNH is already collaborating with the state to develop and implement a surveillance plan that will provide vital information to stem the spread of the virus.
Students are now back on campus, and President Dean says already nearly 100 are in isolation or quarantine. So his message, in order to get through this semester successfully, everyone needs to do their part. We're live in Portsmouth, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News Now.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Long delays cause frustration at some state-run vaccination site. Delay blamed in part of winter storm. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When it's time to invest in a new roof, be smart and look at more factors than just the final price. Not all roofs are the same, and not all roofers are the same. Do you want to see how bad this is?
Beth Goss never expected to be parked at SNHU waiting to get her in-laws vaccinated.
Here's my car, okay? Way down there, I don't know if you can see it, there's a tent way down there. That's what we're waiting for.
A 10-minute appointment window from 3:50 to 4 o'clock delayed for hours, leaving them sitting in their cars in the crowded parking lot with hundreds of others.
There's nobody letting us know what's going on, so we're just sitting here in frustration, not knowing what's going on.
That frustration leading to rising tensions. And it's not just this location in Hooksett. WMUR viewers reported problems at the Londonderry and Nashua vaccination sites today as well.
I got to get them their shot. We could leave, but then we're going to be in the same predicament.
Why there were delays here and at the other state-run sites has yet to be completely answered. In a statement to WMUR, Perry Plummer says, quote, "There are slight delays at a few sites due to the winter storm, but everyone who was scheduled for a vaccine today will be able to receive theirs. The sites will stay open until all appointments have been taken care of." The Gosses finally getting their turn in line at 7 o'clock, more than 3 hours after their scheduled appointment. They're hoping when they return for round 2, things will move a little smoother. I'm Nicole Lally, WMUR News Now.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Decreasing daily new COVID-19 cases allow for more contaminant with contact tracing. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When it's time to invest in a new roof, be smart and look at more factors than just the final price. Not all roofs are the same, and not all roofers are.
Well, Adam, that's right. We're now seeing about 300 to 400 daily new cases of the virus. Health leaders say that allows them to begin investigating every new diagnosis of the virus once again. Now, when daily case numbers begin reaching the levels that we were seeing after the holidays, it becomes less effective to conduct contact tracing. But with the arrival of the vaccines, coupled with continuing to follow guidelines like distancing and mask wearing, the numbers begin to become more manageable again. DHHS is in the transition period of moving back to more of that containment than mitigation, which is more of a return to contact tracing, isolation, and quarantine.
We are in the position now, given that our numbers have dropped from, on average, 800 to 900 new infections per day to now we're closer to 300 to 400 infections per day. We're actually in the process of looking at transitioning back to public health investigating each and every person diagnosed with COVID-19.
Now, Dr. Chan says that if one of those new COVID variants is detected here in New Hampshire, it is possible we could start to see those numbers rise again. He says that's why those vaccines, coupled with that urgent mask wearing and continued distancing, are so important. Live in Concord, I'm Cherise LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Key takeaways from first day of Trump's second impeachment trial. The Senate kicked off Donald Trump's second impeachment trial on Tuesday with Democrats using a 13-minute video of the January 6th Capitol riot to help make their case to the Senate, debating the constitutionality of the trial of former President. Here are three key takeaways from the first day of arguments, which ended with the Senate voting to proceed with Trump's trial 56 to 44. Number one, Trump's lawyers make poor first impression. Number two, senators forced to reveal Capitol riot. Number three, Democrats cite conservative lawyers who back trial. And those are your key takeaways from the trial yesterday. And we'll be sure to bring you more coverage of it starting today as well. Thank you for joining us for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.